carried the crutch like a forgotten accessory, more for balance of appearance than body. The backyard hummed with soft chatter. The smell of grilled meat and blooming jasmine laced the air. I stepped onto the lawn, a slight limp betrayed by the uneven grass. Nobody noticed. Or maybe they chose not to. A neighbor raised a glass, but didn't offer a chair. My father laughed at a joke someone else made, his face lit like I wasn't limping at all. I walked to the drink table, nodded politely, grabbed a lukewarm bottle of water. My fingers shook around the cap. Then Dorian's voice, smooth public. "This is Celine. She's been helping out at the firm." Celine. Tank top, denim skirt, hair done like a California beach goddess. She waved. "Hey, Marshmallow." My stomach twisted. She walked over and flicked the grill knob without asking. "This fire's too low. If we're gonna feed this many people, we gotta step it up." I blinked. She turned to the guests. "Guys, plates are by the lemonade. I'll be slicing the tri-tip in 10. Someone clapped. My mother smiled, sipping wine. They weren't even pretending to be shocked. "She's just helping," Dorian whispered behind me. But his tone said, "She belongs more than you do." I felt like wallpaper peeling in the corner, like something once necessary, now just there, waiting to be painted over. Celine walked past me again. Her perfume burned. "You still dragging that stick around?" I kept my smile flat. Some days are harder than others. "Must be. Looks heavy." Flash, my accident slammed back. The pain, the recovery, the months of silence from Dorian, all crashing in that second. "Maybe time to let it go," Celine said, yanking the crutch from under my arm. I stumbled. She poked my shoulder with it. A shove. Then again, harder. A third strike, a crack across my back. "Celine!" I gasped. "Hit harder," Dorian said from behind her. "Calm. Cold." I turned. He wasn't stopping her. He wasn't blinking. A glass dropped somewhere. A child cried. Celine raised the crutch again. I threw my arm up too slow. Pain shot down my side. I fell. Laughter muffled. Maybe hers. Maybe someone else's. I tried to stand. My legs wouldn't hold. My body loose. Not mine. Then the light. The blinking red dot. Everett Bloom stood at the fence. Phone raised. I saw everything. "Don't move. Police are on their way." I looked up. The sky fractured through tree branches. Everything shimmered. I tasted blood. My mother set down her glass. She looked at her shoes. My father checked his phone. Nobody moved, except Celine flipping her hair. This wasn't new. It was just the first time someone filmed it. "She always does this," my mother whispered to Dorian, "whenever she's not the center." "She needs to grow up," my father muttered. "Walk it off. Walk it off." I couldn't feel my knees, but I could feel this, the betrayal, the silence, the decision to pretend I deserved it. Celine's laughter cut through the lawn. I stared at her, at my parents, at Dorian. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I saw. Nobody came for me, so I'd come back for myself. The ambulance smelled like bleach and vinyl. I watched the roof pass in strobe flashes. A paramedic murmured something. My eyes opened. "They won't erase me," I whispered. The antiseptic light glared above me, casting clean white shadows on the hospital ceiling. For a moment, I thought I was dreaming, until I shifted and pain flared like a siren down my spine. I blinked, and the room came into focus. Quiet, cold, still. But I wasn't alone. A man in uniform stood at the foot of the bed. Calm. Watching. The ache in my ribs roared louder than memory, but my mind still found it. Celine's laugh, the weight of the crutch, Dorian's voice. A gentle knock preceded a man in a white coat. "Marceline," he said, stepping into the light. "I'm Dr. Reese." His voice was kind but clinical. "Your injuries are consistent with repeated blunt force trauma. Shoulder fracture, 3 bruised ribs, contusions on the lower back. These aren't accidental. I nodded, lips too dry to speak. The officer introduced himself. Captain Rowan Maddox. I just need the facts. But I wasn't ready to give facts. I was still piecing together how no one had stopped it. Dr. Reese handed a file to the officer. She didn't fall. She was attacked. This report confirms it. He didn't look at me for approval. They didn't need it. The truth, finally, had a voice louder than mine. I slept in fragments. I woke to the vibrating phone beside my bed. Voicemail. Mom, you've embarrassed us. You think this won't follow our family. Another. Dad, stop making it worse, Marcy. Don't be dramatic. It's not good for you. Then Dorian, his voice slick in a recorded whisper. You've always needed help. I told them you were unstable. Now you're proving it. I clutched the sheets. My ears rang with disbelief. Then the worst, Celine. On TikTok. Mascara smudged, sobbing gently. She came at me first, she whimpered. I only defended myself. My breath caught. The lies weren't even clever, just loud. The video panned to her neck, a faint red mark. From nothing. She always hated me, Celine sniffed. Said I was taking her place. I stared at the screen until it blurred. Then I turned it off. And for the first time, asked the question out loud. Have you ever been told to doubt your own memory by people who claim they love you? The phone dinged. A message from Everett. Got someone you should meet. Cassandra Pike. She's good. Really good. Cassandra walked into my room the next morning like she already owned the outcome. Tall. Sharp eyes. Navy blazer, legal pad in hand. You're Marceline, she asked. Yes. Good. Then we're going to war. She watched the video. Everett's camera had caught it all. The smirk, the swing, the fall. Every second of it. You have more than a case, she said. You have a reckoning coming. My hands trembled as I watched it again. I saw myself collapse. Not just physically. Emotionally. Something had cracked in me long before the crutch hit. I didn't think anyone would see me, I whispered. You're seen now, Cassandra replied. She slid papers toward me. Ready to file for divorce. I stared at them. Can we do it quietly? As a ghost, she said, until we decide to haunt them. I signed, and with it I felt a shift. I wasn't asking for their understanding anymore. We sent the video, a short clip, out to trusted hands. No commentary, no edits, just the truth. It exploded. Justice for Marcy trended within hours. Celine's narrative cracked in real time. Screenshots, pauses, side-by-side comparisons. Her story didn't hold. Someone posted a clip. My father shaking his head at me while I bled. Then, a comment from Aunt Lynette. She never lied. Not once. You just didn't want to see her. I scrolled, hands cold, pulse racing. The world was watching. And this time I wasn't alone. Then the crutch sound, the metallic thud in the video, triggered something I couldn't control. I screamed. I wanted to rip the divorce papers, shred every part of this process that made me relive it. Cassandra didn't flinch. She placed her hand over mine. You already survived the worst day of your life. Now sign for the first day of your new one. So I did. A nurse entered moments later. Kind face, soft eyes. You've got more strength than most, she said. I didn't feel strong, but I felt awake. By afternoon I was being discharged. Everett walked beside me, quiet. At the door he asked, You ready for what comes next? I met his eyes. I'm not ready, I said, but I'm not hiding. The courthouse steps looked steeper than I remembered, the kind that seemed built for people who never crawled out of a hospital bed just days earlier. But I walked up them without the crutch. My legs wobbled, sure, but they held. Light spilled across the concrete, washing over my face like a quiet benediction I never asked for but needed. Cassandra walked beside me, unreadable as always, her heels clicking in measured rhythm. Inside the courtroom, the air was colder, a kind of cold that wasn't about temperature, but judgment. Dorian sat at the defendant's table, jaw tight. Celine perched beside him, sunglasses still on despite being indoors, as if hiding behind something could make truth disappear. I sat down, folding my hands in my lap. No shaking, no blinking too fast, just stillness. The judge called the session to order. Cassandra stood, sliding a small thumb drive forward. "Your Honor, we have audio relevant to the incident." A murmur rose. Celine straightened, sensing danger, but too late. The speakers crackled. Then Dorian's voice filled the room. "Hit harder." He said it like a man instructing someone on how to season a steak. Careless, casual, cruel. Celine shot up. "That's doctored. That's—" "Sit," the judge commanded, voice like stone. Captain Maddox confirmed the recording, its source and custody chain. Every word was authenticated. Dorian stared forward, but his face collapsed. Something in him finally broke when confronted with himself. I didn't move, didn't cry, didn't blink. Silence, when held long enough, becomes its own kind of strength. Lynette was called next. She wrung her hands, gaze flicking between me and the judge. "I knew some of what was going on," she confessed. "I didn't speak before. I didn't think my voice mattered." "Why now?" the judge asked. She swallowed. "Because she stood up. And I'm tired of pretending I didn't see the things I saw." Then came a playback of a voicemail from my father, the one where he asked me to think of the family name. The courtroom turned colder, but I sat still. I'd already grieved them. What remained was clarity. I wondered, quietly for anyone watching, what would you sacrifice to tell the truth? And what would you stop sacrificing once you finally did? When the judge returned, the room hushed. Verdicts are always read slowly, deliberately, as if the weight needs time to descend. On counts of battery, conspiracy, and coercion, guilty. Celine crumpled, sobbing. Dorian didn't move. Not 1 inch. He just stared ahead, like a man finally seeing a future he couldn't manipulate. People whispered. Chairs scraped. Cameras clicked. I exhaled. Cassandra leaned in. "It's done. You did this." Reporters swarmed outside. Microphones thrust toward me. I raised my hand just once. No one speaks for me anymore. Cassandra ushered me out while flashbulbs burst like fireworks behind us. Later, Everett and I met in a small coffee shop, blocks away from the courthouse. He handed me a warm cup. "You held steady in there," he said. "You held steady first," I replied. Cassandra emailed everything that evening. Restraining orders approved, asset protection confirmed, divorce progress moving fast. My life was still in pieces, but the pieces finally belonged to me. At one point, my hand drifted to the rib that still ached, the one that Celine's swing bruised. I pressed lightly. "It still hurts," I murmured, "but not the same way." We stopped by the hospital so I could thank the nurse who once told me I was strong. She hugged me so gently I almost broke again, not from pain, but from being treated like something worth protecting. That night, I walked into a downtown Denver fundraising event. No cane, no hesitation. The director introduced me as the newest legal advocacy advisor. I stepped onto the small stage, heart hammering but steady. "I'm not here to retell my pain," I began. "I'm here to show that silence is not survival. The day I stopped being quiet was the day I began to exist again." Applause rose, soft, respectful, full. Not for the hurt I carried, but for the life I reclaimed. In the audience, one woman wiped a tear with the back of her hand. She didn't speak, but I recognized that look, a survivor recognizing another survivor. Later that night, in Everett's guest room, I wrote a letter. Not to anyone alive. To the girl I used to be. I ended it with love from the woman you became. I folded it, slipped it into a drawer, right beside a blank passport application waiting to be filled. A new name, a new life, a new beginning.